All right, back up, because this is part of the reason we hired you. I want people to understand you did something that we talk about a lot on this podcast. I mean, you just have to do it. You just kind of have to go for it. But on Deadliest Catch, we almost always talk about it in terms of the greenhorn, the guy who shows up to work on the boat, doesn't have any experience at all, and there he stands on the dock waiting for some captain to come along and tell him to beat it and get lost, and most of them do. But that was you, except you went out there to produce, not to haul pots, to actually produce maybe the #1 show in nonfiction. You just leave the holler and just go to Dutch Harbor, Alaska. Well, actually, I guess you go to L.A. and hit OP first, Original Productions. But tell me more. Who'd you talk to? And did they tell you just to go crap in your hat and beat it? And did how many times you have to go back? How'd you win them over?
Well, so initially, I worked on a show that came locally. And it's so funny because you talked about Bigfoot earlier. A show came locally. Craigslist ad was like, hey, we're looking for somebody to work for us. National show. I just sent in a resume because I made like videos on the side and was always into it. And they call and I work on it, and it's Finding Bigfoot, like the first like Bigfoot show that got big. And I work on it for a little bit, and then Harlan County had a National Geographic show called Kentucky Justice. It was right around the time that Justify was big. They was like, let's do a real one. Met Brad Carper on that show, and Brad Carper, I don't know if a lot of people remember, he was on Deadliest Catch. He was the one that Keith threw down over the coffee pot once. And so Brad's like, dude, just go. I'll tell you the guy's name is, he's like, go talk to Decker Watson. Go to see Decker at OP and just tell him you want to film. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I ain't got nothing to lose. I just stopped being a cop here in the small town. And I was like, let's do it. Here I am, Mike.
You were actually a cop?
I mean, yeah. I never finished academy because you didn't have to in this small town. I finished the I finished the POPs, and which is just a certification. And it's I was legal. I could arrest people. And
you didn't tell me that.
Thing.
Now, I knew you ran for office. What was it, like the county seat or something?
The county judge.
Wait a minute, you ran to be a judge?
Yeah, but see, it's a fiscal judge, Chuck. It's a fiscal judge, so they just kind of decide where the money goes. Yeah. Well, at that time, I wanted to try to bring film to Southeast Kentucky, and I wanted to use like the land we had from abandoned coal mines to build studios and stuff, and like start visual effects houses and all that. And the best way to do it, because I went in to talk to the current judge, not this current judge, but the current judge at that time, about it, and he's just like. I was like, dude, I'm from Hollybush. I filmed Deadliest Catch. I can make this happen. And he laughed. So then I ran against him, and he got beat. But not by me.
But not by you. Did you split the vote, do you think? And why didn't
I definitely
you win?
broke it up. I broke it up. Well, honestly, I didn't campaign. I went and worked on a cruise show. I traveled to 40 countries trying to do a campaign. So I was sending them videos from Australia, like, "Hey guys, we could do this in Hollywood, in Knott County." I don't think that.
Wait a
worked
minute, you were working on a cruise ship?
The show was a vacation show, and so we went to like 40 countries on a ship, on different ships.
Wow,
and, what was that? Yeah. Who was that for?
It was Vacation Creation. It was on ABC, like Saturday, Sunday mornings. Yeah, it was Lytton Media.
Yeah, but, I know Lytton. Sure.
Yeah.
I did a show called, I think, Cruise Ship Reborn, it was called. And it was basically makeovers on cruise ships. I just narrated it. But it was on for a couple seasons. People will watch anything, Zach, as you know.
They will.
I narrated a show called The Secret World of Cruise Ships. Which just was basically the workings of it.
Look at this. This is our 6 degrees right here.
Well, right there it is. 3 men who are right on the verge of cruising.
Man.
All right, so back up. All right, so we got a political career. We have a law enforcement career. You were sort of a cop that could arrest people but didn't get through the academy on account of the standards in the holler. Yeah. You ran for judge but didn't get elected because you were busy working on cruise ships, traveling around the world. But you did manage to split the vote, thereby destroying the career of your predecessor. Before this, you get out to L.A. Now, do you drive? Do you hitchhike? Do you take a summer?
drove.
You drove, of course. I've
drove like 10 times from Hollybush to L.A. and it's the worst drive. Tell you
By
right
the way,
now.
Chuck, how awesome! He lives in Hollybush and he drove to Hollywood.
Is that the real name of the Holly Bush?
Hollybush. That's the name of the. And you know that's probably why I didn't win the election either, because one of the shirts that I wanted to make was because the next holler over it's called Beaver, and I was like, and you have to drive through Hollybush to get it, and I was like, Hollybush, the road to Beaver, and people were like, that's not a good campaign ad. Like,
That is not a good campaign.
That's a great campaign ad.
But you wanted to turn Hollybush into Hollerwood.
Hollywood.
Oh, Hollywood's not bad either.
Which is, it's funny, that's the name of the road I live on now. Like, as
That's
the
a real
director
name?
of tourism, I went in, I was like, hey, I'm the only person that lives on this road. Can we call it Hollywood? And they were like, yeah, go for it.
You just slipped that in, Zach, real easy. I applaud the way you did it, but you are the current director of tourism for Hollybush? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, for Knott County.
Not
For
County.
Knott County. Wow.
Yeah, for the county.
Which is bigger than Hollybush,
Yeah,
I would
that's
presume.
15,000 people. It's like,
It's enormous.